is and isn't. Here I am speaking of these things. You know, there's many ways that we know we could choose to lose ourselves, to push buttons, to pull triggers, to jump off things, to pop pills. And since for me, that's like kind of fairly been often actually a close option in my mind. And the reasons why were because of a hypnotic droning message given to me by the church I grew up in. Accidentally, it wasn't on purpose. I forgive them all, everybody who gave this message to me, but blatantly they did give me the message that I might become a rapist and a murderer when I grow up, like every single week for like 16 years, basically, from the time I was fairly very young. And that even if I didn't, that no good girl should or would want to date me. And you know, there's lots of ugly things that are true about the reasons why those messages were coming to me. And they're ugly truths that I wish weren't true, especially because in some major ways, I really care for my parents, my mother and father. I believe in their innocence, their naivete, their obliviousness, the fact that they were caught in the momentum of patterns. I think Arthur Schopenhauer calls it the thrownness of life. You're just sort of thrown into it. And it's easy for me to see where, man, like, you're doing the best you can with what you believe you have, mom and dad, and brothers and sisters, everyone in some way, for sure. And actually, also, like, along with this conversation, I know that it's the confusion of the nuance of my situation compared to, like, my friend Stacy Lee, or Stacy Hooch. She wrote the book Imperfectly Sane, which was a tearjerker about her life. I think every page made me cry in that book. Um, she's got a YouTube channel called Empowerus, Stacy Lee Empowerus. She, which I think is kind of a cheesy title, but she's not cheesy. She's really deep and profound and intelligent, and grew up in a situation that wasn't. It was obvious what was happening to her, and that compared to me, actually, I talked to her once, and she was like, "Dude, that's like hard to hold, man. Like, she's like, a lot of weird things happen to you, and they're kind of confusing compared to what happened to her. It wasn't confusing. What you know, in some ways, you could say her mother was really evil. If you could say that about anybody, it would be not hard to say about her mother. For whatever reasons, it doesn't matter. Like, that character, what she did was very blatantly, obviously um, evil in major ways, actually, compared to the situation that I grew up in, which is kind of not that way, but also sort of stupefying and, yeah, just confusing. Uh, anyway, what am I trying to say? Stacy Lee, recently made a video on YouTube. I hadn't listened to her for a little while. She talked about narrative consistency and how she's coaching a client who has been involved in a narcissistic dynamic with one of their loved ones of some sort, and how, like, excuse me, how, like, this client of hers was saying that they wanted to maybe like tell the world about it, and maybe it would help if they could just put down what really happened. And she said, you got to understand that people like that, they'll just flip the story around no matter what you do. They can't. They'll always do this. They don't care about narrative consistency, which is baffling. I don't know. Yeah, obviously, narrative consistency doesn't need to be a major value of ours. Um, and if it were like a primary value, then it might get stuck in a dogma or something like that, actually. So, but it made me think of, like, the dynamic of politics. Like, Donald Trump, for sure, does not need narrative consistency to wield the power he wields. He's just willing to push no matter what, you know, never admit defeat, always claim victory. There's principles that he lives by, that he was taught by his mentor, Roy Cohn. Roy Cohn, a really dastardly attorney who sort of, in the story of the development of the character of Trump, anyways, supposedly, according to how we see it, um, he Roy Cohn, like, you know, helped him gain some of the powers that he had or he's developed. He lives by those principles. Never admit defeat, always claim victory. I can't remember. There's other principles, but yeah, you know, there's like many ways we could say that we can claim to like choose to. Uh, that's funny. I'm reading some of the comments. They're really funny. There's many ways that we could claim that we know how to choose to lose our life, actually, but because we choose to stay, you know, it's like I want to make a difference, and while I'm here for the like a bouncer, I've bounced into the human experience, like try to be helpful, see what I can do. Hey, by the way, if you're listening, subscribe to my channel, please. I'm trying to get to be monetized. You know, try to get it to be that me, Joey, gets to be monetized. So if you want to support that, you know, please, and that'd be really great. Uh, Funny face, thank you. Yeah. Anyways, you know, choosing to stay. Like I know I can choose to leave, like all of us, so many different ways. But because we choose to stay, like what could we do? How could we make it fun for ourselves and everyone around us more, or at least, you know, not as bad? And what kind of maybe like something like that hasn't been done before, but that could be done. There's things we know we believe can't be done, like uh, like that truck right there. I can't drive that through the lake over there. It's not going to work as it is. But there's ways that that there's things that haven't happened that can happen. Kindergarten upgrades for us as humans. 100th monkey effect, or like the 4 minute mile that people thought you couldn't run it. Suddenly, according to history, people realized you could, and everybody started doing it. And people say, you know, we'll never understand each other. The 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 tribal trouble is just a part of human nature. But actually, the fact that we can describe it means that we can get outside it. And there can be a universal cultural upgrade in our human inheritance where it's like you can too. The word "can" applies to this. You can understand them, and in a way that isn't. In a way, you can understand the other side of some tribe that is not the way that normally the way they understand usually other sides is through strawmanning them. You know, making the worst like description of the other side, their reasons. And there's a way like can too steal man. You know, we can still man each other. We can be smart enough to do this. I swear to God, actually. And there could be a momentum. There's ways that this can happen, and that's a name that I have actually. You know, the Trump train, whatever that be. You know, people who love him or hate him. I can understand all you. I kind of hate that people hate me because of him. I don't like that at all. People who I've felt really close to hate me because of Trump. Actually, they hate me because they think that I voted against him, or they hate me because they think that I voted for him. And you know, they both project on me at times in ways that are really horrible and cruel, actually, and not true. It's blatantly not true, actually, and makes of them fools, and makes me their enemy. The whole situation, actually. Yeah. Anyway, for sure, I want to say absolutely that maybe all politicians they don't need to have a value about narrative consistency. They're just willing to throw the weight of storing things around in a way that's forcing power. And it kind of sucks, you know. It kind of sucks, actually. You know, recently I've got to be with Mormon family of friends, family friends, and seeing like how sweet and lovely their situation is. I love it. It raises my energy to see how wonderful their lives are, and the way that they're really cute, actually, and just the way that the dynamics were for me. That's something that isn't available, and I don't know if it ever will be. But I do think it's possible that Uncle Joey could alchemize into having it be that, even just it doesn't have to be a problem eventually. In some ways, I've had many other people's kids been fatherly in great ways, actually. Ways that I'm proud of, ways that I know that they made a difference for those kids. Anyway, yeah, I choose to stay, at least for now. I do know I can leave. It's an interesting thing to be so aware of. And then the fact that it seems that, like, I wish I could be like more human, like in the game of, like, when I'm with my Mormon friends and family who have these cute human families. There's a part of me that wishes I could be more integrated with what I know that I believe he is, what I know I believe I as my character am as a human being, like more involved in it, like having kids and stuff. But I don't really quite feel like that's accessible to me. Maybe it is. It's kind of late in life, but it might be. It doesn't have to be. And I'm reminded of a song that from Sleep Token. If you know this band, I'm trying to see if I can write it in there somewhere. I see someone here asking me where I am. I'm in Phoenix, by the way. Um, let's see here. Let's see. Show me those pretty white jaws. Show me where the. Let's see if I can write this somewhere. Saved it. Nope, I don't think there's anywhere I can do it. One second. Show me those pretty white jaws. Show me where the delicate stops. Show me, show me what you've lost. Show me love and why you're always taking it slow. Show me where the delicate stops. Show me pretty white jaws. Show me where the love stops. Show me where you hurt. Show me what you've lost. Show me love. Like, there's something about that seems so, like, authentic. Speaking of authenticity, they say the most authentic we can be is authentic about our own inauthenticity. My friend Jesse, he's among these people who live a very wonderfully wealthy Mormon life, not as, like, necessarily as money. Though, they got a nice house and a few nice cars that their kids get to be in the nest of that. But like, I wouldn't say like super wealthy, just but wealthy with the wealth of, like, a healthy family life. He said to me that I value honesty so much that basically I should tell people that in some way, like, hey, like, I value honesty in a way that makes it challenging for me and even people who are with me. It's got its benefits, but it's got its challenges. So I guess I'll end this with someone. I saw some Jehovah's Witness missionaries in the airport the other day, and they asked me if I believe in God, and I had this thing to say back to them. It was, I believe in honesty more than I believe in God, and I believe if there is a God, I only believe in one who likes what I just said. If there is a God to believe in that's worthy of belief, of goodness. If there's a goodness, then that God that is goodness doesn't mind that I say I believe in honesty more than God. He's like, basically, my mind goes, he's like, fuck yeah, bro, that's fucking awesome, man. He's like, spread that message, yo. Like, believing in honesty more than me, actually, because who's me? You know, God. You know, I don't know. There's something about that I found to be a really great, honest answer of what I believe in. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Hey, subscribe to my channel. And curious to see what you have to say about the things that I'm saying in a comment. I know that people are commenting live, and those go away. But maybe you can come onto my page and make comments on this video. Okay, big hugs, much love.